Welcome back to the Daily Sip. Here with me is my friend James Starnes, and he is just fascinating me with all this stuff about the animals that used to be here. I hope you're fascinated by it too. Now we have mammoths and we have mastodons. Both of them start with an M, and so I'm confused. What's the difference?
All right, the difference, these actually lived about the same time. Mastodons are a little more primitive. This is a model of a mastodon here.
Yeah, okay.
Their teeth are actually, you can see, are quite different.
Yeah.
Mastodons were more like browsers, more like modern deer. So they could live in all kinds of different environments. And they could live in floodplains, they could live in forested areas, they could live in swamps.
Yeah.
Our mammoths, which our mammoth is a southern mammoth, the Colombian mammoth, that's this guy here,
okay,
was actually a grazer. So it lived in very, very specific types of environments. And these are usually prairies. And they actually maintained the prairie environment where they lived. Therefore, when we do find fossils of these animals in certain areas, we know exactly what that environment looked like. Many of the agricultural areas that we see today were actually, you can thank these Ice Age animals for maintaining these prairie regions. Like northeast Mississippi, up in the Black Prairie region, these animals, fossils of these animals can be found.
Yeah.
But also in central Mississippi, here in the Jackson metro area, and also towards the Bluff line and also into East Mississippi, we dug the first fully complete tusk of a Colombian mammoth. Now these things were much, much larger than the woolly mammoth, the famous woolly mammoth. Those were more tundra type animals. These animals were living in a more temperate environment. These things were 14 foot at the hip and weighed several tons. They dwarfed the woolly mammoth.
Yeah.
There were two really important recent finds of the Colombian mammoth. I was talking about the one on the coast earlier.
Yeah.
But there was an individual by the name of Waylon Miller. He's working on his family's farm near Lake Mississippi, and he's used to finding fossils, marine fossils around on his farm, because it's part of the Jackson Prairie, which is part of the Jackson group. So it's Eocene geology out there. But that prairie region is very, very important for agriculture. And he brought to me what he called, looks like fossilized lasagna. And it actually happened to be...
I made something like that once.
It actually happened to be a segment of this mammoth tooth, of a mammoth tooth. And so now we know that that part of that prairie, that's the furthest east on the prairie that we've ever seen anything like that. He found this just a couple weeks ago checking on the beans.
So, although this stuff is thousands and in some cases millions of years old, you're still finding out brand new things about it.
Yeah, every fossil find that is brought to our attention really adds a new layer of understanding to our state.
Yeah. Did we talk about this yet?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
This is actually a piece that I found back in college, and this is just a very, very small piece of a mastodon bone.
Oh,
and so
really?
this is a leg bone,
yeah,
and this leg bone would have stood about yay high. So this is just a bone fragment, a bone spur, if you will.
Yeah, where'd you find this?
This is just outside of Vicksburg. Actually, back in college, we ruined a fly fishing trip that I had on one of these creeks with a fossil find, an Ice Age fossil find. One of the most complete tusks at the time, or pieces of tusks that we had of a mastodon. We found literally just as we started fly fishing the creek, we came across it and had to take it to the museum, and my friends were so mad at me that we ruined a fossil trip, I mean a fishing trip, because it turned into a fossil trip pretty quick.
Just didn't understand.
Exactly.
The museum at Grand Gulf State Park, they have a mastodon bone.
They do.
And
yeah.
there's hack marks on it that they say could have been made by humans. Is that a possibility?
It's very, very possible. There's also the mastodon that's at the museum of the Mississippi Delta.
Yeah.
That is one that George Phillips of the museum and I have looked at very, very closely. And it really needs to be looked at by a professional who is, who really skilled at studying these cut marks.
Yeah.
There is a possibility. Now, we know that people around here during that time period, the last part of the Ice Age, these Clovis points, this is actually a replica made by Sam McGahey, which was a former state archaeologist of ours. And this would be the Ice Age hunters' points. And these are actually found all over the state. And so we know that these Ice Age hunters were here.
Yeah.
We've just never made that connection yet with a megafauna or an extinct animal and an Ice Age kill site.
Yeah.
Now, they have been found in other states around us. They should be here, but one of these finds, like at Grand Gulf or the one there at the Delta Museum, may be one of those.
Say something about this real quick, because then we got to go do weather, but we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about that.
Gotcha.
Introduce it.
All right, so this is a glacially faceted stone, and this is from Warren County near the Hinds County line, and this is how we know that the Mississippi River and the evolution of the Mississippi River is associated with this glacial ice. The only way to get scratches on this stone is from literally glacial ice being drug across these rocks at the very, very bottom. And these are things that we just really only in the last few years have found, and it answered a lot of questions about our understanding of the evolution of the Mississippi River as we know it today.